episode of The Optimistic Met Fan. Host Frank Osberger, and on today's show, we're going to be talking about the Subway Series. The Mets with another winning homestand. Is the Mets pitching staff making history, as well as some other topics? First, though, I'd like to thank everybody for liking and subscribing to the podcast, as well as some new followers that I got on TikTok and Instagram. I appreciate all the love that you guys have been showing me. Please like and subscribe to the Optimistic Met Fan on YouTube, Spotify, TikTok, and Instagram. So tomorrow night, the Subway Series is upon us. Both the first place teams in New York, the New York Mets and the New York Yankees, and we got some good pitching matchups. So I'm just going to preview that real quick. We have Tyler McGill versus Carlos Rondon on Friday night, as well as Griffin Canning against Schmidt on Saturday, and then in the finale on ESPN, we got David Peterson versus Max Fried. Max Fried's pitching pretty amazing so far, so I'm hoping the Mets could do some nice things in that series. It is in Yankee Stadium, so they get home field the first series, and then the Mets in July, the July weekend, hosting them later on. So I'm going to talk a little bit about that. But the Mets on the last homestand, 4-2, another winning homestand. So, the Mets, the home record right now is a amazing 17-5 at home, and obviously the Mets are 11-11 on the road, 500 on the road. So, pretty good start to the season. And at home they've been pretty unstoppable, at least in the first 2 months of the season. Looks like home field is rocking right now. So, we'll see. Maybe a little bit of home field cooking because we're still going to be in New York against the Yankees. But we'll see. You know, the Met pitching staff has been pretty good so far this year, as I mentioned. But they are chasing a little bit of history. So along with that 17-5 homestand, they've been pretty dominant across the board. You have Tyler McGill at 3-3 with a 3.1 ERA and 52 strikeouts. And I mentioned they were chasing history. So as I just gave you McGill stats, apparently I saw a little clip online that showed the Met pitching staff. And I'm going to highlight that a little bit before I get into the stats. So I kind of jumped ahead with McGill. But apparently the Mets are the first pitching staff in Major League Baseball history, 5 starters, to start the year with an ERA of sub 3.15 and also have over 40 strikeouts. So, like I had mentioned, Tyler McGill is 3-3 with a 3.10 ERA, 52 strikeouts. Leads the starting staff in strikeouts. Then you have David Peterson at 2-2 with a 3.05 ERA and 43 strikeouts. And surprisingly, you have Clay Holmes transitioning to a starter. He's 5-2 with a 3.14 ERA and 48 strikeouts. And honestly, Griffin Canning's been the best starter besides Kodai Senga. And I say that because Canning has a 5-1 record and a 2.36 ERA, 42 strikeouts. But Kodai Senga had a 4-2 record, has a 1.22 ERA. Unbelievable ERA so far. 42 strikeouts to go with that. So yeah, the Met pitching staff's pretty dominant so far. And this is the pitching staff that was set to have no ace. And I don't think they need one. I think they have a couple of aces on the staff. So with that being said, again, making history pretty cool. Hope they keep it up. Obviously, I think everybody thinks, you know, would like to keep it up. Um, you know, at the start of the season, everybody thought the pitching staff was going to be, subpar or be the Achilles heel of this team, and that hasn't been the case. So, again, great stuff from the starting staff, like always. They've been really keeping us afloat. Even the bullpen through most of the season has been pretty, pretty lights out. Uh, you know, we never really seem to be out of a baseball game, and that's something that is very important, especially to a team that has a good offense. You always want to try to stay in the game. The Mets seem to always be in the game. I don't think there's been one game all year so far that I thought, oh, the Mets are at it. So, uh, with that said, of course, there's going to be games where the pitching staff doesn't do their job or fails. I know uh, we had a couple of open games where Jose Buto and Ryan Stanek didn't have their best stuff, but the offense kept them in the game. So, at the end of the day, when you have a chance to win, that's a good thing. So, you know, looking to the standings right now, the Mets are in first place with a 20-16 record. That's a 2.5 game lead over the Philadelphia Phillies. So, right now, the Mets are above expectations, I think, as far as where people thought they might be. I didn't think they'd have almost 30 wins in the middle of May, so that's pretty good. I know that a lot of sports books, FanDuel especially, had them at 90. I think it was 91.5 or 92. That's a couple of games where they were last year. They had 89 wins last year, so I thought with the additions that they made, I thought they would have had at least 90 plus wins. I had them at 95, so it looks like they're on pace, if not even better than on pace for 95 wins. They're probably gonna be in the high 90s at this point if they keep it up. So, Subway Series. I kind of hate the Subway Series. I'm not gonna lie to you. I always feel like the Subway Series is just a whole bunch of hoopla to it. It used to be really cool. I know back when I was a teenager, back 1999, 2000. I know I'm going back, showing my age a little bit, but the Subway Series was really cool back then. It was something that everybody was into. It was kind of like the World Series in the middle of the season of who was going to win New York. And being a Met fan, you always wanted to beat the Yankees, right? You always got pumped up for that series. Well, there was a couple of games back in '99 and 2000. Uh, well, no, not 2000, but '99 that I thought were really good, and one kind of jumped out. So I know we always talk about our favorite Subway Series moments, and there was two uh, that I wanted to talk about. One was the Matt Franco walk-off hit against Mariano Rivera. I always thought that was a really cool game because this was a closer that nobody could hit, and I think that's what got everybody like excited about it, talking about it. Was that Matt Franco was a pinch hitter on the Mets that year. It's kind of like one of those Mets that if you weren't around back then, you probably don't know who he is. But you know, uh, it was bottom of the ninth inning. Mets were of course down by one, and bases were loaded, and Matt Franco comes to the plate and fouled off some good pitches. And then I remember right before he got the hit, uh, Joe Torre was pretty upset because there was a pretty close, like knee-high strike that wasn't called to Matt Franco. And a lot of Yankee fans were booing in the stands, and Met fans getting all excited. And then he hits a line drive base hit in right field. And the minute the Mets got the win, the whole place erupted. Met fans were going crazy. I know I was jumping on my dad at home. We were all going nuts. And it was just one of those cool moments as a Met fan that during the Subway Series, we didn't really win a lot. So that was kind of like our World Series a little bit. And I was always one Subway Series moment I always wanted to talk about. I always mentioned it with my friends. And then, of course, the captain, David Wright, back in 2006, another Mets walk-off win at Shea Stadium, uh, again against Mariano Rivera. This was a game where Randy Johnson pitched for the Yankees and was dominating the New York Mets. And then, halfway through the game, the Mets started storming back, and it ends up being like uh, just an offensive game where like neither bullpen can really hold the lead back and forth. And then, at the end, David Wright gets a base hit over Johnny Damon's head, and the Mets end up winning. I think it was like 8-7 or 9-8. I think the score was something like that. Really cool game. But again, these are the type of games that you look for as a fan during the year to get excited about, right? So, Subway Series 2025. Last year they only had 4 games, and they did that for a couple of years, and then now they bring them back the 3 games and 3 games. So, I'm not really crazy about it. I guess I feel it's unfair. We got to play the Yankees 6 times, and everybody else doesn't have to. But again, you can't be picky with the schedule. It is what it is. And so far, the Mets have been doing pretty good against good teams. So I'm not really worried about it in that regard. But again, I'm a schedule guy. I feel like everything should be split down the middle. And, unfortunately, it's not like that. But again, I understand the ratings and why they do it. So, talking a little bit about the history of these two teams. Uh, lately, the Mets have done pretty well against the Yankees. So, I'm not going to toot my own horn because I know when it counted back in 2000, the Yankees beat us in the World Series. But, you know, give them their flowers for that. You know, one of the best Yankee teams I think we had to face. But since I did a little research since 2020, see how far back did I go? Let me look at my notes. 2020. So the Mets are 15-9 since 2020 against the New York Yankees, and I'll break down each season for you. So in 2020 we were 3-3. In 2021 we beat them 4 out of 6, and in 2022 and 2023 we went 2-2. So either we were 500 or a little bit above 500 against them. And then last year, obviously, we swept them in the 4 games. So that's where you get your 15-9 record. Honestly, I mean, I rather the Mets do good in the postseason, but it's good to know that we can beat the Yankees and that, you know, that's not really going to hinder us during the regular season. Uh, and also, you know, these are the teams you got to beat if we're going to get to where we want to get, right? So at the end of the day, when you look at it, you go, okay, you got to face the Yankees. If you look at the upcoming schedule, the next 9 games, I was going to get into that too. Not only do we have to face the Yankees in Yankee Stadium, but then we got to go to Boston right after that. That Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday coming up, we got to face the Red Sox, and then back home at Citi Field, I'll be there Friday night. Can't wait to see that series against the LA Dodgers. So this is a 9-game stretch where this could really be a really good test for us to see where we are as far as the baseball team. I know that a lot of people think we've had an easy schedule. I would disagree because we just took 2 out of 3 against the Chicago Cubs, pretty good team in the National League. But yeah, this is going to be a good test for us. I think out of these 9 games, I'm not going to say be modest and say 5-4, but we're at least 5-4. That should be like the floor of what we do. I expect. I'm not going to say greatness, but I expect to win. So 6-3, 7-2. Uh, let's prove to people that this team is for real. I think that Juan Soto is going to show up, I think that Pete Alonso is going to keep doing what he's doing. I think that the captain, Francisco Lindor, is going to shine these next 9 games, especially this weekend at Yankee Stadium. And we'll see. I mean, the pitching staff has to hold up. But, again, I think when you talk about weeks in the schedule that stand out, obviously this one stands out a little bit. And again, uh, I didn't think we'd be in the position that we are right now early in the season, having almost 30 wins. Like I said, 28-16, that's a hell of a lot better than I thought it would be. Uh, again, this is an 89 win team from last season, and really we're only adding Juan Soto. And, you can't even say that the bullpen's the bullpen productivity has been improved, but the bullpen's still kind of the same. Now that we lost AJ Minter for the season. So, these are just, it goes to show you how good this team has developed, how fast it's developed, how the young guys keep playing well, how they keep, just showing up every day and doing what they got to do. Look at what Acuna's doing. I think he's in line for Rookie of the Year if he keeps doing what he's doing, because I know he's still eligible for that. So, again, barring any other crazy rookie that outshines, uh, look at what Acuna has done, you know, uh, as far as these young guys stepping up. And this is what I kept saying at the beginning of the year. It, it's not Pete Alonso's and Soto's and Lindor that's going to get us to where we got to go. It's everybody else behind them that needs to step up. So, right now that's what they're doing. Uh, again, I always say I couldn't be prouder of this team because that's the truth. Uh, you know, I rooted for this team since I was a kid. I'm now in my 40s. I'm a dad, and now I get to watch my sons root for the Mets. So, all you Met fans that have kids, it's tough being a Met fan. So, we're raising them right. We're raising them to, be fighters and blue collar type guys and girls. So, again, uh, so let's dive a little bit into this series coming up. Tyler McGill is the first man up, and he's facing Carlos Rondon, who I think is a really good starter for the Yankees. But we did have his number last season. So let's see. I'm a little bit worried about Tyler McGill in this series. I feel like this might be a team that might hit him. So I'm hoping that he just does what he's been doing all year. Attack the zone, uh, you know, induce those double plays that he's been getting. And I think we'll be okay. Listen, this Yankee lineup's going to hit. Best case scenario, just going to be a quality start. Give me 6 innings, 3 runs, and then let the bullpen run with it. And I think we get a win. I think Soto, like I said, is going to show up. I think Pete Alonso and Lindor are both going to do what they do. So I don't think the offense is going to have a problem against Rondon. I just think, like every game, it's going to be about starting pitching, just putting us in a position to win. And then we hand it over to the bullpen. And I think that Tyler McGill can do that. In game 2, I think this might be one of those, either Griffin Canning gets rocked and has his first awful start of the year, or Griffin Canning has the game of the year and goes deep into this game. So, we'll see what happens with that. And then very interesting, the ESPN game is really a highlight of 2 really good lefties going at it. Obviously, Max Fried is the guy, but, I think David Peterson could hold his own. This is going to be a good test for David Peterson, I think, as well. And, we'll see. I think this series could go either way. We could lose 2 out of 3. We could win 2 out of 3. Obviously, as the optimistic Met fan, I'm going to lean toward 2 out of 3. But, maybe I'm being a little bit biased. I don't know. You guys tell me. But, speaking of history of these 2 teams, I did some digging also. I thought it was pretty cool to bring up. Was the amount of players that played for both the Mets and the Yankees. Obviously, that's a lot of guys. So I'm not going to waste everybody's time talking about every single player, but just some notables. Obviously, the great players that have come through, like David Cone, Doc Gooden, Darryl Strawberry, Yogi Berra, just to name a few. Obviously, then you have some really good players like Curtis Grandison, another great player. I think uh, he should get a lot more credit than he does. Carlos Beltran actually played for both of these teams, and that's the thing. Like me as a Met fan, I love all those guys, and obviously they have some history with the Yankees. I think some of them have more history with the Mets, but again, uh, you can't knock a player for going to the other side. They look at it as they're playing in New York, so I know that fan bases might say, "Hey, he's more of a Met or he's more of a Yankee." I guess that's perspective. Uh, I view a lot of those guys as Mets only because of a lot of the '86 Mets, and you know, I honestly for what he did with New York, I think that in center field, I think Carlos Beltran's more of a Met than he was a Yankee. But then in the same light, even though I love Grandison and I thought he was one of the few Met Yankee guys that you can kind of say was like 50-50. But I'll give the Yankees credit. I mean, other than 2015 when he really made it as a New York Met, I kind of viewed Curtis Grandison as the Yankee. So, and then you have some other notables. Ricky Henderson played for both of those teams, Hall of Fame player. Uh, Robin Ventura, awesome third baseman, played for both the Mets and Yankees. I know Met fans remember that Grand Slam single that Robin Ventura hit. Again, uh, these are just a few guys. And one of my friend's all-time favorites, shout out to Paul, shout out to El Flo, I love you guys. Bartolo Colon, one of your favorites. Uh, I know he's an all-time Met, but he also played for the Yankees as well. So it's just really cool to kind of go through the history of that. And you know, obviously through the years, though, and this is why I didn't want to waste so much time talking about it, is I would have to talk about 167 players if I were to go through every single player that played for the Yankees and the Mets. That's pretty wild. That about 167 or over 167 people played for both teams. That's crazy. Um, I think that might be the most that played for both franchises. Like compared to like other teams that might have had like other inner city teams that might have had rivalries. I think we take a cake when it comes to that. 167 is crazy. That's unbelievable. Uh, you know, but yeah, Subway Series weekend. I'm pumped for it. I'm looking forward to. I would have went to the one in July, but I'm gonna be on vacation. So, uh, but I've been to tons of Subway Series games to get crazy. I will say that let's behave. Let's have a good series. Let's be cool. Let's not have too many fights. Let's be civil. Uh, Surprisingly, though, the Subway Series, I think this might be the best Subway Series that we've had in a while, only because the whole team's doing so good. And also, you have the Juan Soto effect. And again, I wasn't going to bring it up, but, you know, the elephant's in the room. Juan Soto chose the Mets over the Yankees. So, again, I think he might get booed. I think he might get cursed out a little bit first game. After the first game, I think it might be chill. Uh, Maybe not chill, but maybe they'll ease up a little bit. I don't know. What do you guys think? Uh, I think the first game, though, we might see a lot of FU Soto stuff. Uh, I hope not. I mean, look, the guy's a pretty cool guy. Just let him play. I don't know why everybody's giving him such a hard time. But speaking of another Met, who I think might actually have a pretty good impact on this series is Brady. And the reason why I say that is since being called back up, he's been doing pretty awesome. I'm gonna go over his last 7 games since he got called up. He has 4 home runs, 7 RBIs, a 316 average, 6 hits, and 4 runs. And I know that he brings really good defense to third base. I think, uh, we might have to consider putting Mark Mendoza as DH long term. Uh, we'll see. Uh, I just want to throw that out there. Uh, you know, but again, I mean, with the way this team is playing, like I said, I think we're in good hands. So as far as that goes, I did want to talk a little bit about uh, the minor leagues, and surprisingly enough, I don't know if you guys pay attention to it, but the top 30 list of prospects throughout the year it usually changes a little bit. So at the beginning of the year, uh, everybody was talking about Brandon Stroke and how he was the number one prospect and how he was going to, be the next guy up. Hasn't happened yet, but you know, I'll go through some of his numbers. I was going to bring that up, but Jet Williams has uh, suddenly emerged as the number one prospect. Kind of jumped over Brandon Stroke. And the only reason why that's important is, it's not like when you're number one, number two, number three, it determines when you get called up. That's not what it is. It's just how they're ranked. So Jet Williams was the number one prospect, and then Brandon Stroke jumped because he had such a good 2024 in the minor leagues in his rookie season. So now it kind of flip flop again because Jet Williams is now healthy. And some of his numbers, so in the last 10 games, batting 260, his OPS, his on base percentage and slug is really impressive. That's over 870, so that's at 873. He does have 7 hits, 3 runs, 2 doubles, a home run, 4 RBIs, 8 walks, which is why the OPS is so high, which I think is impressive. And then 2 steals, and it was only called once. So showing off a little bit of speed as well as power. So coming into his own, Jet Williams. And, I know in the last episode I was talking about future center fielders or, you know, second basemen, but it looks like center field is our weakness right now. So we'll see what happens with Jet Williams. He's been playing some center field, and like I said, his offense is looking pretty good. So we'll see where that goes. Hopefully, in the summer months, maybe it's cold up. Maybe everybody else already. Who knows? Um, and like I said, Brandon Stroke uh, is not number two prospect. And you know what? He starts. I'm going to go through the numbers. He's kind of not figuring out AAA, and I'm kind of getting a little nervous about that because you know we kind of need one of those young guys to emerge. So I think it's just going to be somebody else. So I'm going to mention him after I go over some numbers with Brandon Stroke. So in 8 starts in AAA, he has a 1-3 record and a 5.85 ERA. So not really that good. His ERA did balloon in 32 innings pitched because of a couple of games he got hit pretty hard. So he has had a couple of games where he has pitched pretty good. It's just that when you give up 6 runs twice, it kind of inflates your ERA a little bit. So it's going to be a little bit hard to get that ERA. But he does have 26 strikeouts. But again, given a lot of runs, 27 runs in 8 starts. So, with that said, uh, let's hope that he figures it out because I really like his makeup. I like his stuff. I think it translates to the major leagues. So we'll see. Uh, Now to compare, I think Nolan McLean might be the next guy up, and his ups are that's turning heads down AAA. So I wanted to go over his numbers real quick. Uh, he had most of his starts are in Double A, so his overall numbers, he has a 1.08 ERA, so pretty amazing ERA. He's also a 4-1 with 37 strikeouts, and that's his 6 starts. Again, so showing a lot better numbers uh, than the Brandon Stroke. And his 1 star AAA, He had 7 innings, 7 strikeouts, no runs. So that was about a week ago. So he's going to be getting his second start at AAA tomorrow. So, again, no one playing could be the next Met pitcher to come up. If they need a spot starter or not, you know, they don't really have to because I think his pitching staff, like I said, me and his with very good. And lastly, I just have to say that I do think that Jeremy Hefner deserves his flowers. This is a guy that you know I don't know what he's doing with that pitching lab, but definitely everybody is drinking that Kool-Aid. So just whatever it is that they're teaching down there at that complex with Jeremy Hefner and his plan to get these guys ready in between starts is pretty impressive. So, you know, I think we really need to start giving Jeremy Hefner his credit. Uh, you know, just not taking him for granted because look at what his pitching staff has done. Still one of the best ERAs in all of baseball, and they still don't have Sean Manaea and Frankie Montas, and they still get some pitching. So we'll see what happens at the deadline. But until then, it seems pretty good. So I think that's it for today's show. Again, I want to thank everybody that has liked and subscribed to the podcast. I really appreciate all the extra followers I've been getting lately. So let's keep that up and have a great week. Subway Series weekend. So let's go Mets and stay amazing. I'll see you guys next week.